Hello all you beautiful rejects out there. It is I, Tim, once again back with episode 14 of Blockbuster Rejects. What movie are we doing this week, you ask? Well, it's a very special week in the Horror For Dummies studios. This week we are, in Horror For Dummies we are looking at Pet Semetary, the original, versus the remake. So I thought that I'd do something cool and use this episode to look at Pet Semetary 2, the sequel that many people are hating on. So we're going to look at that, but first, as we always do, is we check out the trailer. So let's listen to the trailer. And I'm sorry about my own little version of Gage Creed in the background there. Jesus Christ. Here's the trailer.
Hey, what are you doing?
Getting things ready for Mom.
Mom's dead, Jeff.
She doesn't have to be.
Something strange.
Now, I didn't think much about it until I saw him drag the body out of the coffin.
Something ancient.
Bury your own.
Something evil.
Was it your idea of a joke to send me blood from a dead animal?
This dog is alive.
Not this dog.
Something terrifying is happening in Ludlow, Maine. Again.
Pick up your family and get the hell out of that town!
Pet Semetary 2.
Jeff, honey. Father and I need to talk.
Some stories just won't stay dead.
Pet Semetary 2 from 1992. This one has a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes and it's under fantasy/horror. So, okay, before we start, the story is a teenage boy and his father move to a recently deceased mother's hometown where they encounter the ancient Native American cemetery with the power to raise the dead. That's basically the skeleton of the story, but there's so much more to this story. This stars Edward Furlong as Jeff Matthews. His name is Jeff. My name's Jeff, and you would know him from Terminator 2, Detroit Rock City. I think most people would know him from Terminator 2. He's that little kid. We have Anthony Edwards as Chase Matthews, the father. He's been in a bunch of stuff, ER and Top Gun. We have Jared Rushton, who plays Clyde Parker. He's the bully. He was in, let me just check, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Big, all those types of things. We then have Jason Maguire, who plays Drew Gilbert, who was apparently in Forrest Gump. I have no recollection of him in Forrest Gump. The credits say Fat Teen, so there you go. Last but not least is Clancy Brown, who plays Gus Gilbert. Most people would remember him as the asshole guard from Shawshank Redemption. But he's been in a lot of stuff as well, like Thor Ragnarok and Warcraft apparently. But most notable for Shawshank Redemption. Okay, so I picked up this movie to do for the sole reason that we are doing the other two Pet Semetary films this week. So I thought it'd be cool to do all three of them. And look, when I picked this up and put it in a DVD player, I kind of thought to myself, this is going to be crap, because I've heard nothing about it. No one's really talked about it, and what I have heard about it wasn't positive, so I wasn't expecting much going into this. But look, man, I had a blast with this movie. It's not perfect. I'm going to give it that. It has its flaws, but it was a lot of fun. The biggest part of this movie is its characters. It had so many interesting characters in it. You had the little kid, whose name's Jeff, played by Edward Furlong, and his fat friend, who was Drew. Then you have the asshole stepfather, played by Clancy Brown. You have so many characters that are memorable and likable. And that's what a lot of movies I find are missing. Likable characters. The stories itself is very much similar to the original, everyone knows the gist of Pet Semetary. You bury your pet in the cemetery or someone else, and they come back, but wrong. So stuff like this happens, but the thing is with this is a lot of stuff happens. This film is quite gory at times. It has its fair share of blood and guts, and I'm going to tell you right now, the effects are pretty good. For a 1992 film, they're done well. And there was even some kills that, quite frankly, shocked me. I didn't expect them to go to that level in this movie. Let's go to the bad side of the story, because yes, while I did have fun with this movie, it does have its flaws. Look, the acting isn't great, I will say that, but hey, the original isn't that great as either. The score and soundtrack to this movie really took me out of it a few times. The score is really out of place for the most part. You'd have sympathetic scores in an action part and vice versa, and the soundtrack, they would have random punk songs play just for the hell of it, and it kind of took me out of it a bit. But the funniest thing about this movie is the amount of reaction that the characters have. For example, and I'm not trying to spoil anything right now, but you have Jeff, who's the main focus character, and his fat friend Drew. Now, Drew's dog just died. He's been shot, and Drew spends the night holding his dog while his dog's bleeding out. So the next day, the dog dies, and Drew is covered from head to toe, basically in blood, and Jeff rides up, sees him, no reaction at all, and just goes, "So you coming to school?" And then Drew turns to him and says, "My dog died." To which Jeff, his friend, looks at him and goes, "Oh." And that's it. And this happens so many times throughout the movies. It made me laugh. Like, there is no reaction to death in this movie. I don't know if it's a metaphor for something or anything like that, but it made me laugh. Man, I had fun with this. I really did. I expected the worst, and I walked out having fun. The other thing I must note is the characters are very, very reminiscent of past characters from other films. For example, you have Edward Furlong, who is the kid from Terminator 2, and he basically plays the same character as he would in Terminator 2. You see him yell out for his mum the exact same way, you see him scream the exact same way, he's basically dressed the exact same way. But it's also to another character, Clancy Brown, who plays Gus here. He's basically the same character as the asshole guard in The Shawshank Redemption. I mean, yes, he's not a guard. In this, he's a police officer, but he's an arsehole. And kudos to him. He does a good job at being an arsehole, and it makes you hate him. There are characters in this movie that you genuinely hate, and you want the worst for them. There are characters in this movie that you like, and you want to see them succeed and survive. So I really, really enjoyed the cast of characters in this movie. Is this movie better than the original? No. I actually would put it on par though. I enjoyed this as much as I did the original. Is it as good or better than the remake? You're going to have to wait to listen to Horror For Dummies for that answer, guys. Sorry, I'm not spoiling everything right now. But is it worth a watch? Yeah, I really reckon it's worth a watch. Look, I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. I had a blast with it. It's not perfect, but it's entertaining. And that's why we go into these movies for, to be entertained. So go and check out Pet Semetary 2. I reckon it's fun to do the whole 3. Pet Semetary from 1989, Pet Semetary 2 for 1992, and Pet Semetary from 2019. Go see them all. So that's it for Blockbuster Rejects this week. Gage, could you please be quiet? Jesus Christ. I have my own kid who's come back from the dead. Next week we are going to be, and I just picked out a movie at random. We're going to do a movie called UKM, The Ultimate Killing Machine. This one comes from 2006 and looks interesting. The cover has some dude sitting in like a, I don't know, electric chair that's kind of squeezing his face together. I don't know. It looks interesting. Yeah, we'll wait and see, huh? Alright, so until next time, go check out Horror For Dummies this week. We've got Pet Semetary versus Pet Semetary. Should be a fun little discussion. But until next time, I am Tim. Gage, say hello. Catch you down the road.
tell me how